Ugh, looking so rough right now. Does anybody else have like these dumb little baby hairs that just stick out and then you have no idea what to do with them because there's just no taming them? Anybody out there with curly hair, I know y'all feel me. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I firstly wanted to apologize about not having a video up last Friday. If you saw my last video or my Instagram, then you know that I've been out of town, and by out of town I mean an hour away. But I was out of town for a week, so I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to be able to get a video up on Friday, and I was not able to after all, so I am sorry. But for today's video, I wanted to do a story time / get ready with me. Today is one of the days that I go in late to work, so I still have a couple of hours before I have to be there, so I thought, why not use this time to film? So I'm going to be getting ready for work while also telling you the story of how I got bit in the face by a dog. Before I start putting my makeup on, I do want to show you the scars that I have though. So here's one right here. This is the big one pretty much. And then right here under my eyes, you can see this one right here. You can't really see it that much anymore because the surgeon did a pretty good job of stitching it up. But if you notice, it like follows my dark circles basically. So it just looks like I have a permanent bag under my eyes now. Fantastic. It's this little curve right here and then it kind of poofed out when it was healing. So there's that, and then there's this one right here. So the last time I did a get ready with me, I totally forgot to like mention the products that I'm using, so I'm gonna try to do a better job of that this time in case y'all are curious. So let's just get started. So I didn't wash my hair this morning, but I did take a quick shower before I started filming, and I used my Burt's Bees Sensitive Facial Cleanser to wash my face, and then I went in with my Burt's Bees Sensitive Daily Moisturizing Cream, so I am all ready to go. And then I'm going to use my Tone Adjusting Face Primer from e.l.f. It comes out purple. I think it's pretty. Prime the face. Gotta fill everything in. And keep in mind, I don't normally fuss with my makeup this much for work. But your girl broke out recently. Like, I'm sure you noticed in my close-up of my scars that I broke out. And it just keeps getting worse. Next, we are going to go in with my foundation. It is from Urban Decay. It's the All Nighter Waterproof Long Wear Liquid Foundation, and it is the shade 2.0. I'm just going to spot that all over my face. I am not going to mention any names in this video, so to keep everybody's identity like anonymous or whatever, we are going to rename the dog Buddy. That is not his real name. It is just the name that I am going with. So, a little backstory about Buddy. Buddy used to be at the shelter that I worked at. I used to work at the Humane Society of El Paso, and this poor guy was in and out of there. If you like add up all of the time that he spent living at our facility, it was about 2 years. It was like half of his life that he had been there by the time that he got adopted. He was in and out of the shelter because he was an escape artist. He was really good at getting out of people's yards. So after being there for so long, somebody adopted him, and like a week later, we got a call from the owner saying that he had gotten out of the yard, but we never got an update. So for all this time, we thought that he was gone. But next thing we know, the next summer, the owner comes in wanting to return him. We're like, oh, okay, we thought he was lost this whole time. So the poor guy, you know, was an outside dog, wasn't really like trained or anything like that. I think I forgot to mention, this is a blending brush from Eco Tools. So he already had a rough life, you know, like any rescue I'm sure has a rough life. So after another like 8 months or so, my friends adopted him. And I'm not gonna mention their names. It was really sweet because they had met him before at the shelter and they fell in love with him, but they weren't like, you know, in a position to get a new dog. So when he came back, things kind of just started falling into place slowly, and eventually they ended up adopting him. So at the time that they adopted him, they had just gotten a brand new apartment where they had literally like nothing in it. They didn't really have any furniture yet. They were still in the process of moving in and just getting everything together. So one night I had gone over to have pizza and watch movies with my friend. Okay, now we're gonna go in with the concealer from Tarte. It is the Shape Tape Contour Concealer in the color, in the shade, Light Sand. I'm gonna try to cover that up real quick, and I always do just a little bit over my scar. So we basically set Buddy up for failure. And let me explain what I mean by that. So if you know anything about like dominance and like dog behavior and that kind of thing, you know that height and size can sometimes play a part in that. So like I said, it was a brand new apartment. They didn't have any furniture yet. So we were sitting on the floor in the living room eating pizza, watching movies. We were like on his level basically because we were sitting on the floor with him with pizza right in front of him. And at one point he kind of tried to get our pizza and we said no and kind of pushed him away, and he got a little upset, but it wasn't anything like bad. But my friend did put him in timeout for a little bit. She put him in a side room for, I don't even know, I think it was less than an hour for sure. And we kind of think that maybe we let him out of timeout too early, and like maybe that played a part in it. We don't really know. Okay, now we're gonna do my eyebrows, and I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the color Taupe. This stuff is magic. If you have not used it, what are you waiting for? And I am going to use this eyebrow duo brush from e.l.f. I used to have the little eyebrow brush from Anastasia, but I needed a new one, and those things are like 18 bucks a pop, and this does the same thing. So anyway, we let him out of timeout, and we had already finished eating. We were still watching TV on the floor. And then once we finished the movie, we were still just hanging out and talking and catching up and stuff like that. And then I did something that I had no idea was gonna freak Buddy out. I hate this stage where you're like in the middle of doing your makeup and the only prominent thing on your face is your eyebrows. I look ridiculous, I know. So anyway, what I did next, I had no idea was gonna like set Buddy off, okay? So we're still on the floor, we're just hanging out. And I wanted to get comfy. I was just stretching and stuff. So I laid on my back. I was just stretching. I was on the floor, whatever. And when I sat up, I guess that like triggered him, that scared him, or I don't know what happened. I startled him somehow. When I sat up, all of a sudden Buddy lunges across. He was probably like 5 feet away from me at least, and he lunges at my face. And my first instinct was just to push him off. I think I said ow, I don't even know, but it was just one of those, it happened so quick type things. So he lunged at me and I was like ow, and I pushed him off. So my friend grabbed him and she was gonna go put him away because she was getting mad at him. But then she looked back at me and all of a sudden I knew that something was wrong, because her face, it was like that. Her face just like dropped and it got white right away, and I knew, oh God, something happened. So she looks back at me and she's like, Jules, he bit you. And that's the day that I learned that my adrenaline will kick in like nobody's business. 'Cause I had no idea that he had bit me because I didn't feel it. My adrenaline saved me that day. But then after a few seconds had passed, then I started to feel the aftermath. So I didn't feel the actual bite, but afterwards it just felt like my whole left side of my face was bruised. So she started panicking, but she went to go put him back in the other room, and during that time, that's kind of when the pain started settling in, and I like did this kind of thing to touch my face to see what had happened, and it hurt so bad. It just felt like a gigantic bruise, like the worst bruise that you have ever had, ever. So after I touched it, I looked at my hand and I saw the blood, and that's kind of when I started freaking out just a little bit. And for whatever reason, okay, this is what was going through my head at the time, okay? Right away, my first concern was, oh my gosh, I'm gonna stain their carpet in their brand new apartment with my blood. So I'm like trying to catch it and I'm freaking out about that. And she's getting upset at me for that because she was like, dude, who cares? And I was like, but blood stains, it's gonna stain your carpet. You're not gonna get your deposit back. So she was getting mad at me for freaking out about that. And then we rushed to the bathroom so that I could catch it in the sink, but then she was getting mad at me there because I was still trying to clean it up while it was going into the sink. So we go to the bathroom and I'm just like literally with my face over the sink just dripping in. She gets me a washcloth and I can't even clean my face with that because it hurt too bad, but I was kind of just like dabbing here and there. And like I said, it was a brand new apartment. They had like 0 things. So they didn't have like any first aid, anything. They didn't have band-aids, they didn't have like alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, but luckily her mom lived close by, so less than 5 minutes her mom was there. If you are watching this, Mama, you know who you are. I love you. Thank you so much for helping us out that night. But yeah, her mom came over like so quick, like in her PJs and her slippers. Like obviously she was already getting ready for bed for the night, but she was there in a heartbeat to help us out. But when I got into the bathroom and I looked at my face, that's kind of when the reality of everything started settling in, and that's when I started crying. But I cried for only like 5 seconds, and literally it was because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, Buddy doesn't like me. This isn't gonna work out. I'm not gonna be able to come over and hang out with them anymore. When you're in a situation like that, all logic just like leaves your brain. At least in my experience that happened. I don't know. I was worried about like the dumbest things ever. Okay, time out. So this is the part of the video where I am actually gonna include pictures from that night, and if you are squeamish, then you probably don't want to see this. So I'll have it either here on the screen or in the description box down below, and you can just pause it and go look for the time that you need to skip ahead to so you don't have to see that if you don't want to. So this all happened in one bite. It was like 1 second and it was done. But you can see his bottom teeth latched onto my jaw, and then his top teeth got the area right under my eye. And if he had gotten me like half an inch higher, I probably wouldn't have my left eye right now, or I would at least have very severe vision problems at the very least. And the part close to my eye like ripped off, and it looks like a little triangular like flap that happened. And then the part by my jaw was just like this huge deep gash. Okay, now I'm gonna do my eyelashes, and I'm using the Maybelline Falsies mascara, and it's the waterproof one. And I think the shade is called Very Black. People ask me how I get my eyelashes so long, or I've even been asked if I'm wearing false lashes, and no, I'm just using this stuff. So if you're looking for a really good mascara to try out, I recommend this one. So anyway, after her mom came over and helped clean me up just a little bit, it was decided, you need to go to the hospital, this needs stitches. And my heart sunk, guys. It was so bad because I was so concerned for Buddy. I didn't know what was going to happen to him. My biggest fear was that he was going to be euthanized, and that is not at all what I wanted. But finally I agreed, yeah, okay, this is serious. I need to go to the hospital. Next, I'm going to contour my face just a little bit with the bronzer from Too Faced. It is the Milk Chocolate Soleil Light to Medium Matte Bronzer. Really like this stuff. If you haven't tried it, it smells like chocolate. So while we were on the way to the ER, I texted my dad, because I was still living at his house at the time, and I texted him, which, you know, I probably should have called him, but I texted him. So I texted him and I was like, hey Dad, my friend's dog just bit me in the face. Don't worry, I am okay, but her and her mom are driving me to the ER right now. So of course I get a panicked call right after that, and he and my stepmom are like, oh my god, what happened? Where are you? Which hospital are you going to? And so they showed up at the ER right away, of course. And my poor friend was panicking because she was like, oh man, do you think your parents are gonna want to press charges or anything like that? And I was like, dude, don't worry, don't freak out, I'm not gonna let that happen. So they check us in, and we get to the treatment room that I was gonna be in and all that kind of stuff. And then the first thing they asked me was it a pit bull? And I got so upset, but I didn't show it. Like, I just kept my anger to myself, but it upset me so bad because no, he is not a pit bull. He is a mutt. He looks like a teddy bear. But I got so upset because I was like, oh yeah, of course everyone's gonna assume that it was a pit bull. And lastly, I'm just gonna do some blush real quick, just a little bit. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Femme Couture. Femme Couture. I have no idea. But it's the one that like looks like a flower inside. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. But it's the shade Sunset Rose. So I was like, no, he's not a pit bull, he's a mutt. Like, ugh, I just hate it when people assume that kind of stuff. Anyway, now we're gonna do my hair, and you're gonna see what a tumbleweed I have on my head. So then the person that was actually gonna be helping us came in, and I forgot her name, but she is awesome. She was so cool. You know, she was talking to us about what happened, she was explaining what was gonna happen next, because, little fact about me, I hate needles. I hate needles coming at me. I can handle it, you know, if they're going elsewhere. Like, I'm around needles all the time at work, and like I poke other living beings but not myself, you know what I mean? But she was so cool, and she could tell that I was freaking out, and so she helped calm me down. And again, like, my logic and reasoning went out the window because they were telling me that they were going to need to stitch my face real quick just for the night until I went to a surgeon in the morning. But then they told me that I was going to need a tetanus shot, and I panicked. I freaked out so bad. Like, okay, Julie, let's put everything into perspective. You just got bit in the face by a dog. You have, like, these huge gashes on your face, and you're worried about a tetanus shot? Really? And she was so quick. I did not feel that. Or maybe it's just that my adrenaline was still going, but I did not feel that tetanus shot whatsoever. Like, I didn't even know that she was done. So if you did see those pictures from that night, then you saw how this was like a triangle. Well, they had to stitch like the tip of that just like with one stitch for the night, and then they were going to send me to a plastic surgeon in the morning to get it like fully stitched up. So they did end up doing stitches here, and then they did like a butterfly tape kind of thing over that bottom wound. That my left eyelid was so swollen, and I had a black eye. Like, this whole area was bruised. Like, the bite happened down here, and everything was all black and purple all around. And my eyelid was so swollen that it looked like I had an eye closed for a few days there. So I obviously stayed home from work that day that I got all stitched up. But then I went back to work the next day. So that was 2 days after the bite happened. And I walked into work with sunglasses. People probably thought that I was like hungover or something the way that I walked in, because I was so out of it still. At that time, I was still at the front desk, like doing customer service at the shelter. So I had to take my glasses off and I had to talk to people, and everyone would do the double take and just like look at me and stare at me and, "Are you okay? What happened? Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" And so I kept having to tell them, "Oh, you know, I had an accident. It didn't happen here." Because right away people were like, "Did it happen here? Was it one of the dogs here?" And I'm like, "No, it did not happen here. He was adopted from here, but it did not happen here." I didn't tell them that he was adopted from there, but I did tell them, no, it did not happen here. But you know, for weeks after that, people were asking me what happened to the dog. Did he get put down? And no, he did not get put down. He is still living with my friends. And you know what? He is a great dog. Despite what happened, we now know his limitations and we know like his quirks. And if you keep him within his comfort zone, he's fine. He is a great dog with them. And that's what people like don't believe, I guess. There are a lot of different beliefs and different views on this type of thing, but my friends know what he can or cannot do. They know what will put him out of his comfort zone. They know that he's weird with strangers, and so anytime that I go over, because yeah, I do still go over to hang out with them, they know to put him in a side room and he'll be okay. Or we've even gotten to the point where, you know, they just keep him like on his harness and leash if they have him out while I'm there, and he's fine. But it also helps that I know not to make eye contact with him or to move too quickly around him, you know. I know a lot of people would have said to just put him down, but I am thankful that that's not what they wanted to do, because that's not what I wanted to happen. I didn't want him to be put to sleep a week after being adopted. By the way, let me know if y'all want a tutorial on this hairstyle, because it is like my go-to hairdo for work. It's just something really quick and easy that I've figured out for myself. And so I guess the point of this story is to educate yourself and others about being around new dogs and just like body language in general, because who knows, maybe this whole thing could have been avoided had I not laid on the floor on his level and then sat up too quickly. I really think that that's what startled him. And if you know that your dog has weird triggers, do your best to accommodate him first before automatically thinking you need to euthanize him or you need to rehome him. If it's something as simple as just keeping him on a leash when people come over, that's totally doable, because when he's at home with my friends just like normal, he's a perfect dog with them. I get Snapchats from them all the time about him. You see pictures of him all over social media. He's fine with them, but they know that he's weird with strangers, and so they're really good about knowing what he can and can't handle. I try to use everything as like a learning experience and try to see the positive in everything. So with this, I can use it to kind of educate people about, you know, it's not always a pit bull that's gonna bite you. It taught us a lot about reading a dog's body language and also like what your body language is kind of saying to him. So moral of the story is that any dog can bite. Period. That's it. It's not always a so-called aggressive breed that you see in the news all the time. It could be any dog. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story with y'all because every now and then I do still get questions about, oh, what happened there, even though you can't really see it as much as you used to, and I've gotten a little bit better about covering it up with makeup. Like, again, looking at the positive side of things, my makeup skills have gotten a little bit better. Obviously, I didn't do any like color correcting or anything in this video, but I now know how to do that. So once again, I am sorry that I didn't have a video out for y'all last week, but I really appreciate you sticking around to see this week's video. And I wanted to say thank you to my friends who own Buddy, because I did ask them about doing this video before I did it. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to be okay because they do watch my videos, and of course wasn't going to give out their names or Buddy's real name or anything like that. So now I am curious if anybody out there watching this has their own dog bite story or cat bite or whatever it was that bit you. If you have a story about getting bit and you want to share it with me, I'd love to hear about it. Please leave me a comment about it down below. Also, let me know if you guys enjoyed the get ready with me / storytime type videos, because this one was kind of fun to do. So if you guys like that kind of video, then I'd be more than happy to do some more for you. If you enjoyed this video, then please give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you can see some more videos from me in the future. Also, YouTube is being weird and they're changing things, so now there's this little bell somewhere that you need to click so that you can be notified about my new videos when they come up. So please make sure to do that if you haven't already so that you can see some more from me in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye, guys.